News Talk 94.5 WPTI, 96.7 FM WTOB. You're listening to the Wealth Guardian Show with Doug Ray, helping you retire the job and keep the paycheck. With you this morning, you've got Garrett Ray and Brice Payne, and we are talking about how to successfully climb the retirement mountain. We'll be taking you through all the various steps. Good morning, Brice.
Good morning, Garrett. How we doing?
Doing okay. Just looking forward to getting into another episode. My wife is traveling internationally for her work, so that was a little bit of an interesting travel arrangement weekend for us, but all good.
Got it all taken care of?
Got it all good.
Very good. What's your prediction for the game this weekend?
I'm going to be a little tongue-in-cheek, but I feel like it's got to be the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's pop culture is rooting hard for the Kelsey Taylor love story fairy tale to become even more hyped up than it already is.
Album of the year recipient, dates.
Yes, yeah.
Super Bowl champion.
Everything, and it's and you've got probably the best quarterback in the game, Patrick Mahomes, feeding him the ball. So it's like it's all the signs are pointing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Hey, let's go ahead and get started on things here. Before we do, Garrett, go ahead and lead us through the Wealth Guardian Service salute, if you would.
Absolutely, guys. We want to take a moment here from the Wealth Guardians just to extend our thoughts out to those men and women in uniform and our first responders in our community. We have our eyes looking at what's going on out there in the Middle East, and it looks like it's getting a little bit more tense out there. So, again, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for what you do. We know that yourselves and your families sacrifice a lot to keep us all safe.
Very good. Appreciate that. And yes, I second everything that Garrett just said there. All right. Now, as you know, if you've listened to the radio show before, starting in 2024, we started a new little tradition here where Garrett and I ask a question of each other so that you out there can get to know your Wealth Guardian advisor. And the question we're asking each other today is, what's a small thing that makes your day better? So, Garrett, What is a small thing that makes your day better?
So this may sound silly, but it's a very simple, practice that Cindy, my wife, and I, we try to do every morning. When you get into the, rat race of just kind of going through your work life each and every week, you can kind of lose those moments. So one thing that we've tried to do is every morning after we get up, we try to get up with the sun and enjoy a cup of coffee together. If the weather's nice, preferably outside, so we can just kind of enjoy the quiet of the morning, share, a little bit of talk before we kind of get into our busy day. It's just kind of a nice moment of clarity, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes with her in the morning. It just kind of sets it off in the right direction versus just, running through the house, trying to get clothes on, get everything ready to go, packing lunches, all that stuff. So, just having that quiet moment with her is great. Your moment of zen, so to speak. That's right. Yep.
All right. Well, that's oddly enough. What's a small thing that makes my day better? Kind of in that same vein. Is my moment of zen. I enjoy cooking. And Belle, my wife, works very long hours at Wake Baptist. Yep. And so if I can get home in time and cook a meal, it's my decompression time to just focus all my attention and energy on the recipe steps or whatnot and create a good meal.
That's great.
And I enjoy that. And I didn't used to do that. I'd say 15 years ago, I couldn't cook my way around a bowl of soup. Yeah. But now I've actually, according to those who know, say that I'm actually quite good at it now. So
there you go.
That's my moment of zen. There we are.
Very good.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get going on the topic here. How to successfully climb the retirement mountain. This is going to cover us in both segments here. So if you're ready for an adventure, think of retirement planning as climbing a mountain. Okay, I use that analogy all the time. It's not just about the climb up. It's about preparing wisely and is tackling the ups and downs and even planning your way back down. So we're talking about setting the milestones, dealing with market surprises, and making sure your hard-earned savings last through your entire retirement journey. It's a long haul plan, as if you will.
Sure.
So please join us as we gear up with some smart strategies and insights, making sure you reach the top and enjoy the view. And so, Garrett, what's the first one that we've got on our list here?
Well, absolutely, Brice. So if you're a mountaineer and you're preparing for a climb, that's the first step. you got to prepare. You don't just decide to ascend K2 or Everest in an afternoon. It takes months of prep. And so that's what, really understanding what different vehicles are you going to use to prepare for this retirement mountain ascension that we're hoping to do. How much do we want to have in savings? What type of investments are you going to do? There's multiple different ways to do it. Traditionally it's done through 401ks, IRAs. Some people do it through real estate, That's another
precious metals.
Exactly, precious metals. So understand, what kind of gear or what kind of accounts and investments are you going to focus on? Understanding the terrain of the mountain. What's the financial landscape in the markets? Are we in a high interest rate market like we are now? Was it lower interest rates just like it was 2-3 years ago? What's going on with Fed policy? That sort of thing. Just really the idea is the more financial literacy you can get, the more you can read up on what's going on in the markets, what's going on in business trends, that sort of thing. Like any other skill set, you're going to start off with knowing almost nothing or very little, and you have to build on it and build on it and build on it. We here at the Wealth Guardians, we like to say that we're students of the markets, and it's a lifelong pursuit. Keeping that going. So. Yeah. Preparing for the climb.
Preparing for the climb. Very good. All right. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Wealth Guardian Show with Doug Ray. Today on the show, it's Garrett Ray and myself, Brice Payne. And we're talking about how to successfully climb the retirement mountain. It's a metaphor, if you will. And you have to, before you climb a mountain, as Garrett said, there's a lot of steps that go into getting you ultimately to the top. The first one is preparing for the climb. Garrett, the second one is the ascent.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the ascent.
So the ascent is when we're putting in the work, right? So this represents our working years, going through our career, being able to set aside that money, a little bit either after every paycheck, the old saying, pay yourself first, that sort of thing. So when you're actively saving for retirement, you're going to face different challenges. At some point, let's say you're a young person just starting out, you might be living with roommates soon after college in an apartment, but then you want to buy that first home, or you're in a serious relationship and you're, looking to combine finances with a future spouse. If you are married, then there's, we're probably having children or something like that. So you're going to face these challenges along the way, but you have to make sure that as challenges come, you're still putting in the work. You're still climbing the mountain slowly and surely. Again, you're not going to do it all in one pitch in one afternoon. You're going to have to put in that work. So if you encounter these various, financial situations such as marriage, such as, having children, that sort of thing, make sure that you've got a plan to stick to that course of retirement. Putting away, whether it's 5%, you get the company match for your 401k, that sort of thing. Stick to it, because the moment that you vary off the course, then you have obviously less chance of ascending the mountain, less chance of being prepared for a nice retirement.
Very good. Appreciate all of that. And speaking of being prepared for things, one of the things in retirement that you would want to plan for is tax landscape. Taxes change significantly when you stop earning a paycheck and start receiving Social Security and start taking distributions from one of your qualified accounts. We're all used to what taxes look like while we are working. I mean, by the time you are 30 years old, you're more or less accustomed to that, and there's not a lot of surprises going on there. But boy, does that plateau or that plane change, so to speak, when you are now retired and your sources of income are other incomes, and that changes things considerably, and you don't want to get caught behind the 8 ball on paying Uncle Sam too much. Sometimes to pay Uncle Sam as little as you are legally required to takes some planning, some years in advance planning, and we're going to talk to you about that at our next seminar. So we do a number of seminars every year. You're probably aware of that. And the first seminar that we're doing this year is called Tax Strategies to Transform Your Retirement. It's Tuesday, March 5th and Thursday, March 7th. If you are preparing for retirement and you have not sat down at some kind of seminar or information gathering about how taxes change in retirement, then you're making, I might say, a pretty big mistake by it not just at least learning what's different about taxes. Maybe you've got a CPA who's going to take care of all that for you. Great, but you should know some basics yourself. And that's our seminar coming up. There's no cost or obligation to attend. Again, it's called Tax Strategies to Transform Your Retirement. It's Tuesday, March 5th and Thursday, March 7th. I beseech you to go ahead and call and make your reservation. There's no cost or obligation to attend, but you do got to make your reservation. So you can call us at 336-391-3409. That's 336-391-3409, or reach out to us at our website, thewealthguardians.com, and hit the events tab. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to the last one here, Garrett, before our trivia question, before the break. Base camps. What's the base camp about?
Yeah, so we talked about this metaphor, climbing the retirement mountain. Obviously, we know that we got to put in the ascent, put in the work, but we're going to stop along the way at different base camps. And what this represents, using that metaphor, is key financial milestones. So let's say that we've got a goal of paying off a mortgage, or successfully paying for a child's, secondary education through college. Let's say we're an early investor and we have a goal to max out our Roth or our 401k contributions. Once we hit those milestones, sometimes we're left without wondering what's the goal. And so this is a way to kind of refocus, celebrate the win, of course, but just like a climber does at base camp, they're resting and then they're refocusing on their next goal. So as we go through that retirement and when we hit these key milestones, let's celebrate the win, but also refocus on the main goal, which is that successful retirement.
Perfect. Very good. Well, it's about time for our break here, and we're going to get back to the same topic after the break, how to successfully climb the retirement mountain. But before we do, we've always got the trivia question. Garrett, are you ready?
I believe I am ready.
All right. This is actually a threefold trivia question.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
So here we go. February 6th, the day of February 6th, Garrett, three great legends were born.
Okay.
All right. In 1895, and I'm going to give you their nicknames. So you've got to tell me what the nicknames of these three people are. In 1895, the Bambino, a.k.a. the Sultan of Swat, was born.
Yep.
All right. In 1911, the Gip, a.k.a. the Great Communicator, was born. And in 1945, Tough Gong, a.k.a. the Legend, was born. So that is our trivia question. Stick around for the answer to that trivia question and see if we stumped Garrett this week on this trifecta of trivia questions. This is Brice Payne. With me is Garrett Ray. The show's The Wealth Guardians, helping you retire the job and keep the paycheck. And this is News Talk 94.5 WPTI. And this is 96.7 FM WTOB. News Talk 94.5 WPTI. 96.7 FM WTOB. You're listening to The Wealth Guardian Show with Doug Ray, helping you retire the job and keep the paycheck. I'm Brice Payne this weekend, along with Garrett Ray, and in this second segment, we're going to continue our conversation about how to successfully climb the retirement mountain, all the things you need to do to prepare for retirement, because that's what we are, retirement specialists here at The Wealth Guardians. Now, before we get to our trivia question and see if we stumped Garrett, I've got two questions for you. One, are you looking forward to your retirement? Two, do you want to make sure you're making the best financial decisions for your retirement? Well, I'm very confident you answered yes to both of those questions, so then I've got great news for you. We here at the Wealth Guardians offer a no-cost, no-obligation second opinion/review of your retirement plan. This is going to include a deep analysis of your assets, your investment portfolio, insurance policies, income needs, risk tolerance, risk exposure, tax mitigation strategies, legacy goals, and the fees you are currently paying. Here's our goal. We want to help you lower your fees, we want to help you align your risk, and we want to help you improve your overall retirement picture so you can indeed retire the job and keep the paycheck. But the ball is in your court. You have to give us a call, and here's our phone number, 336-391-3409. Give us a call or visit us at thewealthguardians.com to set up your financial plan review with Doug, Garrett, and myself today. Remember, the markets aren't going to wait for you. Okay, having said all of that, let's get back to Garrett and the stumped look that he's got on his face. I think we got him on one of the three.
Yeah.
So here we go back to our trivia question, Garrett. On the day of February 6th, three great legends were born.
Okay.
In 1895, the Bambino, a.k.a. the Sultan of Swat, was born.
Yeah.
Who is the Bambino, a.k.a. the Sultan of Swat?
So I know that one. That's Babe Ruth. So I'm good there. I feel.
Oh, wait. No, I meant to hit that one. There you go. Sorry about that. We'll save that buzzer for the last one. I think that's the one we stumped you on. Okay. Very good. Okay, so 1911, the GIP, a.k.a. the Great Communicator, was born. Who is that?
Right, that would be Ronald Reagan. Yep.
All right, very good.
The Gipper, yeah.
And 1945, Tough Gong, a.k.a. the Legend, was born.
1945, you said?
1945. No longer with us, unfortunately.
I'm going to take a wild guess here. I think this could be Walter Payton.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry. Anybody out there know that one? Tough Gong, a.k.a. the Legend, is referring to Bob Marley.
Oh, okay.
Tough Gong Records he started.
But he was called the Legend. Okay.
Well, the Legend, that is what he is known as in musical circles.
Wow.
And Tough Gong comes from his ability to be a street fighter when he was growing up in the slums or the poorer parts of Kingston.
Okay.
So you got 2 of the 3. That's pretty good. I'll give you that. All right. Let's go ahead now and get back to our subject from the first segment, how to successfully climb the retirement mountain. In the first segment, we talked about preparing for the climb, the ascent, and the base camps.
Right.
Now, let's go ahead and talk, Garrett. One of the things you got to prepare for is the changing weather. What's that about?
Yeah, so, I mean, you didn't think that your ascent into retirement was going to be perfectly smooth, did you? So, of course, like any mountaineer is going to prepare for changing weather. Also, your retirement plan needs to have basically stop gaps or fail safes in it. So understanding that when the markets get rocky, or if we've got kind of pending weather that looks a little rough, what is your plan to basically go into safety? Typically you don't have your pedal to the metal in high risk, high volatility investments for the entirety of your way. And so just like you can't put in, 100% effort on a climb, you have to be calculated. You have to plot your route. You have to understand how the mountain is changing in front of us. There's a time to put your foot on the gas. There's also a time to essentially look to see what we can do to, have some safety, just like we would, if we had rough weather on the mountain. So what does that look like in a retirement plan? Okay, maybe we need to take a look at someone's risk profile. Maybe we need to look and say, okay, how soon do they need the money? Is there money that can be put in a more safe investment, or does this money have time to grow so it could potentially be in a riskier investment, that sort of thing. Understanding what the overall market conditions are. Is now the right time to be, essentially talking about, are we going into, the bond market? Are we going into, something that's like index funds, that sort of thing? Just understanding what the market is doing around us so that we understand how to best plan for your retirement.
Very good. Perfect. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Wealth Guardian Show. And in this first and second segment, we're talking about how to successfully climb the retirement mountain. Garrett's leading today. And Garrett, the next one that we're talking about after changing weather is the summit. What's the summit about? Tell me about that metaphor.
Yeah, so the summit is, most people would consider that, this is the peak. This is the most exciting part of the climb. I reached the summit, which is interesting. But if you look at, mountaineering, yes, the summit is exciting. But also, guess what? A lot of deaths on Everest happen either right before the summit or right after the summit. So let's not make that happen to a retirement plan, meaning that this is the most crucial part. You've worked your entire career for this. Don't mess it up at the very end, right? So let's have a plan for how we start taking those different accounts that you've worked so hard to grow. A lot of people start getting nervous when they're like, how do I take distributions out of this? Well, that is the whole purpose of these accounts in the first place. Talk to a financial planner. Let's get a plan around how we convert what looks like different buckets or piles of money into a paycheck plan that's going to work for you in retirement. So that is the summit. That's the success. That's the big win we're looking for. But you need to make sure that your plan to reach the summit is going to last, and you're going to basically descend safely. Just like any mountaineering work.
While it's a point of celebration, you can't hang out there too long.
No.
You're limited on time, and you want to make sure that the ascent was a certain particular strategy.
Yep.
The descent is what we're talking about next, but that's a specific strategy. You can't dilly-dally in between those too long. Yes, you want to take a minute, a breather, appreciate that you got to where you're at, which is basically retiring, and now you've got to employ a completely different strategy to continue, because
Yeah.
Ultimately, the end goal is to get back down to base camp or below, right?
Yep.
Right.
Safely.
So safely, right, in one piece. Yep. So that's we now have to prepare for descending safely, so we can't hang out at the summit too long. So talk about this descending safely.
Right. So this is where we're taking a look at, okay, once we've got that plan around setting up our, careful distribution or withdrawal strategies, what other stuff do we need to look out for? Well, one of the things that can absolutely throw a wrench in any retirement plan and completely blow it up is unexpected healthcare costs. So we're seeing that people are living longer and longer. Do we have a plan for if, assuming we're talking about a couple here, if one or both of us have really expensive health care in our retirement years? Is there a plan around that? Have we talked to anyone about a plan for that? So that's one of the things we need to look at to help us descend safely. Also making sure, let's do a sanity check at least once per year on how's that nest egg looking? Are we still on course? Are we still, do we have our spending in control? What about our income streams? Are those also still healthy? It's very common for someone to have an initial plan in going into retirement, but then guess what? Life happens to us, right? When you maybe started planning, you were maybe 65 years old. Now you're closing in on 70 or 75. Things have changed from when you originally first started that plan. Let's make sure that we're making adjustments along the way versus something getting off the rails and then completely derailing 5 or 6 years later. Let's make sure that we're doing steady course corrections to make sure that plan's going to be sustainable for everyone.
That's right, exactly right. And one of the things when you're descending that is different than the ascent is what kind of taxes you're going to be paying. So we spend a long time climbing up the hill. We were used to what taxes look like then. Now that we're climbing down the hill, you're taxed in a whole different way. Just like the muscles in your legs are going to be taxed in a different way. Uncle Sam is taxing you in a different way. You don't have the paycheck, so that earned income is no longer the same. You've got perhaps Social Security income certainly kicking on at some point at 70, if not before that.
Absolutely.
So that's taxed in 3 different ways, 15%, 50%, or 85%.
That's right.
What steps can you take to make sure that you are not paying Uncle Sam out of 85% of your Social Security and only 15 or at least 50% of your Social Security? Well, we've got a seminar that talks to you about that and helps you understand the steps that you need to take in advance of retirement so that you can pay Uncle Sam only what you are required to. You don't want to pay him more. Now, if you do want to pay Uncle Sam more than you have to, okay, then probably you don't need to attend the seminar. But I'm guessing there are 0 people out there who are okay with that. They would want to learn the steps and the strategies that they can take so that they pay Uncle Sam as little as possible. So that's what our seminar is about. It's the first seminar that we're doing this year. We do about 6 a year, and it's called Tax Strategies to Transform Your Retirement. It's Tuesday, March 5th. And Thursday, March 7th at our offices in Clemmons, North Carolina. Starts at 6:30 p.m. There is limited space. You do not have any cost or obligation to attend, but we do need to know that you're coming. So please give us a call, 336-391-3409. That's 336-391-3409. You can also visit us at thewealthguardians.com and click the events tab and let us know that you're coming that way as well. And we'll send you out some preparing information that you'll need so that you can come with everything that you need to learn more about taxes. Now, something else that I'd like to bring to your attention before we close it up here for the weekend is our website. I mentioned it here. We've got thewealthguardians.com. And one of the things I'd like to bring to your attention is there are a number, probably about 12 to 16 different brochures and pamphlets and informational packets on our website, thewealthguardians.com.
Free resources.
Free resources. Go to the Media Center and click on Free Financial Reports. There's literally over a dozen of them on there, and one of them is 10 birthday retirement milestones. I mean, I'm just picking one out of the blue here. There's life insurance facts, fictions, and myths. There's care planning, what's the best fit, in-service withdrawal flyer, a lot of different things. But you can go on there, scroll through them. Any of them are free for a download, no cost for them. But if you're looking for more information on what you need to do to prepare for retirement, that is what I'd bring your attention toward, is our website, thewealthguardians.com. Garrett, what other advice out there for future retirees do you have before we let them get back to their pre-big game festivities?
Well, I would say this is, if you enjoyed the show and you're thinking about, retirement, then no better resources than free resources. I'm going to piggyback off of what you said. I mean, look at all these brochures we have up there that are, you can browse on your own free time, thewealthguardians.com. Go to the media center, and you can find them right there. Free resources, folks.
There you go. And it's, the best thing about that website is it's open 24/7.
It is. You don't even have to call.
You don't even have to unlock the door.
That's right.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Wealth Guardians with Doug Ray. This is Brice Payne, along with Garrett Ray, helping you retire the job and keep the paycheck. I do want to remind you, sound financial plans do not create themselves. This is News Talk 94.5 WPTI. This is 96.7 FM WTOB.